Prince Imrik, Lord of Dragons, Master of Drakes. He comes to both the Vortex and Mortal Empires campaign, bringing a whole host of new powerful dragons to the scene, if he can obtain them. He has the ability to be able to tame the dragons and bring them into his service. We're going to take a look at how this mechanic works in campaign, and then take a look at all the fancy new dragons you'll be able to get Imrik's hands on. So prepare yourself to witness some mighty majestic beasts. So in Imrik's campaigns, at the top of the screen you'll have a little countdown to a dragon encounter. This happens every so many turns, spawning up a kind of quest battle encounter. You'll have about 20 turns to go and visit that encounter if you want to, where you'll be met with a bunch of options. And one of the dragons you'll be able to tame. Which one it is completely random, and you'll have a bunch of options on what you do with that dragon. You don't necessarily have to fight it and try to tame it right there. You can gain other benefits from it. Because of course, you may not always be in a good situation to try and take on the dragon. You may not have a good enough army. You may be at war with too many people to worry about that. So if you're not ready, you can still gain some benefits by going to visit the dragon encounter, even if you're not looking to tame. With this one, we can gain plus 20 armor piercing damage and plus 60% armor piercing missile damage. It will also lend you one of its abilities for a while, and lets you know you can find this dragon again if you choose to consult. It'll cost you 2,000 gold though. You could bargain with the dragon to gain a nice chunk of influence, although again for 2,000 gold, and you can find the dragon again later. You can challenge the dragon, which gives you the chance to tame the majestic beast and recruit it into your army to use against your unfortunate foes. Or you can just leave the dragon alone and come back later where you can find it again. If you do wish to challenge the dragon, be ready for a freaking fight. There will be a bunch of rewards to gain other than just the dragon, such as abilities and buffs to your army, which are naturally pretty damn strong. As for the battle itself, it'll work like any other quest battle really. You'll have a set force to fight, and there will probably be reinforcements of some kind. And as you might expect, some of these are certainly harder than others. So overall, the mechanic is very similar to the Norscan monster hunting, so it should feel pretty familiar to a lot of people. Now, let's take a look at the dragons themselves. We're going to do them in strength order according to their cost in custom battles, where they are campaign exclusive only units. Gordinar, Champion of the Flame, a sun dragon to best all sun dragons. Very similar in stats to a normal sun dragon, but better in all the important areas. More melee attack, more melee defense, more weapon strength, about 1,000 more health, a little bit more armor, fire damage on his melee attacks obviously, and a few unique abilities. Has his dragon breath of course, which causes fire damage and is good against a single unit, not so good against a single combatant. And then he also has rebirth. Much like a phoenix, he has a chance to regain health once he gets below 10% health to bring him back to life, although a chance of instantly dying. He also has Vanguard deployment, which is pretty cool for a dragon, and then some of your more usual dragony abilities, fear and terror resistances, etc. The quest battle to tame him is a pretty tough one. It's against the Tomb Kings, and there is a lot of constructs. They've even got their own flame phoenixes as well to give you problems. However, on the kind of bright side, there are no reinforcements in this battle, so everything you see is what you're going to get. In a way, this is kind of a good thing because it means we don't have any reinforcements to worry about, but on the downside of that, it then means that you're facing all the reinforcements that might have come in at the same time as the main army. So you're taking everything on at once, which makes this quest battle a little bit harder, especially as there's so many constructs. They're just going to barrel forward and you're not going to be able to contain them, so it is going to be a bit of a struggle. And Gordinar himself is pretty damn strong, plus that regeneration. Good luck. Next, we have Bruar, Protector of Life, a play on the Forest Dragon. He's got similar stats, better in some areas, more melee defense, more weapon strength, still got that poison and magical damage, more weapon strength, anti-infantry, armor piercing, all the good usual stuff, more health as well. His breath attack is good against large combatants and single units. Other than that, it's just his physical resistance like the normal Forest Dragon and the other usual dragon abilities. As for his quest battle, it's probably one of the easier ones because it's against the Wood Elves. There are some tough units in there that you've got to try and get through, and of course, the Forest Dragon itself is always going to be a problem, but naturally the difficulty will depend on what your army is composed of and how well you can use them. This quest battle is going to have reinforcements, but they're nothing too crazy to worry about, so I think Bruar is going to be one of the more obtainable dragons early on. That brings us to Lamoru the Frozen Breath, a cross between the Moon Dragon and Frostworm it seems. The stats of a moon dragon, but vastly improved in many areas. Lots of melee defense for this one. A little bit more of a defensive dragon in a way, can help it survive better, especially as it has 6,600 health. And it has the frostbite ability to slow its enemies down in melee, reducing their speed by 36%, always handy. For its abilities, much like the Frostworm, it has Frost Breath, which is good against a single unit. Also, it has the Chilling Aura, which reduces speed by 36% of any nearby enemy units. And that stacks with Frostbite on the melee attack, so that's a 66% speed reduction to any unit that he's fighting in melee. He also has Encourage and the usual dragon abilities, so a bit more of a supportive dragon with that speed reduction and Encourage. As for his battle, it's going to be against Norska, and it's certainly one of the tougher ones, as there's lots of big strong units going to be coming your way, and some reinforcements that you are going to definitely need to worry about. Lots of large units, so make sure you're bringing missiles and your anti-large. There's some Fimir warriors, so you've got armor sundering to worry about. There's lots of frostbite from the ice trolls and from Lamaru himself, so certainly going to be a test if you want to conquer the Frozen Breath. And then we have this terrifying beast, Shakalot the Calamity. A roided up star dragon with a bit of an evil twist. Similar star dragony stats, honestly, only a few minor improvements, nothing huge, but he does have Shakalot's Noxious Breath, which is his breath attack from the sky, an explosion good against a single unit that also reduces enemy leadership, which, couple that up with the leadership penalties of taking damage from a breath attack, is going to make it hard for a lot of units to stand and keep fighting after they've received a Noxious Shakalot Breath. So potential to spook people away with his breath attack. Again, fear, terror, siege attacker, blah blah blah, usual stuff. Missile resistance on all these dragons as well. Nice. As for his battle, it's going to be against the vampire counts for the most part. The army itself isn't very tough at all. If you look at it, skeleton warriors, zombies, not a lot there to worry about other than the Cairn Wraiths. Are going to be some reinforcements though, which are going to give you something to worry about. And Shakalot himself is, a star dragon, so he's going to be pretty damn tough, not to mention his Noxious Breath as well, if that hits you. So perhaps a slightly easier battle. You've got some easier units to deal with, but you do have one of the hardest dragons to try and take down. And lastly, a dragon without equal, Imrik the Eternal. This thing is an absolute freaking monster. Over 7,000 health, 100 armor, it's unbreakable, a ton of fire damage melee attack, a ton of melee defense, an ungodly amount of weapon strength at 690, that's basically 700 damage right there, with a bonus versus large, and armor piercing. Go ahead, have a little cry, get it out your system, and then we'll get back to it. Ready? Okay. His breath attack causes fire damage, it's good against armor and is good against large combatants, so a bit of an anti-large vibe coming off Imrik. He also has the Primal Rage ability, much like Berserkers where the longer they're fighting the more damage they do. Yeah, Imrik has that. And as I mentioned, he's unbreakable as well, so he's not going anywhere, you've got to kill him if you want to defeat him. So yeah, good luck defeating Imrik the Eternal. He is the strongest dragon in all of the Warhammer 2 lands by far. And just to make matters worse, if you do want to try and tame Imrik the Eternal, you will have to defeat the Lizard Men to do it. And the army has got a lot of big, tough stuff in it. So as you might expect, this is going to be one of the toughest, if not the toughest quest battle to tame your dragons. There are going to be reinforcements as well, so honestly I wouldn't even bother with this one. Just leave it. There's not even any point trying. Just don't bother. Just forget that Imrik's even in the game. Just do something else. Anything else. Wouldn't bother. Too hard. So those are the 5 dragons that Imrik will be looking to tame throughout his campaigns. The encounters are randomized, so you could get any dragon at any time. You could get Imrik on your first encounter after turn 10, which is actually what happened to me in my first Imrik campaign, where I swiftly looked at the Lizardmen army, looked at his stats, and then cried and just turned the game off. But of course, the beauty of the mechanic is that even if you can't take on the dragon yet, you do have some other options to gain some benefits from interacting with that dragon, which is cool and makes the mechanic a little bit more interesting than just run up, fight the dragon, come away, or don't. So yeah, there you go. There's all of Imrik's dragons that he'll need to tame if he really wants to become the Lord of Dragons. Of course, there's lots of stats and campaign buffs to get for your army as well if you can get these dragons, so there's really a lot of good reasons to go after them. I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching. I'll leave you on a few sweet cinematic shots of these dragons, and I will see you in the future.